We didn't really have anything dramatic happen in college football this weekend. Almost everything stayed status quo. Though the one thing that did happen, number 9 West Virginia upset by Oklahoma State. However, I will say that there should have been at least one untimed down, because on that last pass play, it looked like defensive holding to me. And who knows if West Virginia would have scored on the untimed down. Because if that was called, West Virginia would have gotten one untimed down. And who knows if they would have scored that touchdown to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. So, like I said, nothing dramatic really happened. Top 4 stays the same. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Michigan. My top 4 stays the same. Georgia stays at 5. Oklahoma stays at 6. Washington State at 7. Ohio State at 8. And LSU and UCF move up one spot. So, today, I have got my formula to end the controversy that is the college football playoff. To end the disputes. No more controversies, because this is the 5th year of the college football playoff process. And there was controversy year 1 right away. There wasn't controversy in years 2 and 3. It kind of stayed status quo the last week. It was just as a matter of what order it should have been in. And last year there was controversy whether it should have been Alabama or Ohio State getting that 4th spot. And if something plays out, like if we see possibly Ohio State winning the Big Ten, or Oklahoma winning the Big 12, or Georgia winning the SEC, there's a good chance that one of those 3 teams will get left out, and it could cause controversy again. So what I have conducted is I have conducted a formula to end the dispute of the college football playoff controversy. At the end of this video, you're going to be amazed by how easy it is, and how simple it is, using simple mathematics to figure out who are the 4 best teams in college football. So I'm just going to slide right in here because we don't need to see the board anymore. We've already went over the top 10. So what I have here is a 12-step process of resume point building. And I think this is a great formula. Maybe there might be an adjustment or two, maybe somewhere down the line. But if you feel like this is a good formula, why don't you send it to the College Football Playoff Committee and see if they actually use it in the future years? Because not only could this affect the committee's decisions this year, but it may be in years past. And I'll explain at the end. But if you want to follow along, I've already done the mathematics, but if you want to follow along, you're going to need some paper, you're going to need a pen or pencil, and probably a calculator, because math may be simple sometimes, but sometimes it is not. No offense to math teachers out there, but you know it's true. So let's quickly go over the 12-step process. Step 1. Undefeated, 10 points. 10 resume points right off the bat. Number 2, beating a ranked opponent is 5 points. Number 3, beating a ranked opponent at home is 3 resume points. Number 4, beat a ranked opponent on the road is 7 points. And yes, road victories against ranked teams. Those are huge resume point builders. Number 5, beating a ranked opponent on a neutral site is 2 points. And here's where some deductions come in. Number 6 is lose to a ranked opponent is minus 2 points. Losing to a ranked opponent on the road is minus 1 point. And losing to a ranked opponent at home is minus 3 points. And here's a big one that could cost several teams here. Lose to an unranked opponent is minus 10 points. And here's the big one. Number 10, win the conference championship. Well, win your conference championship is 20 resume points. And these last 2, they're going to be huge bonus points. Number 11, beat a ranked team by double digits is 3 resume points. And number 12, beating a conference champion. If you beat a conference champion, you get 10 resume points. Doesn't matter if it's a group of 5 conference champion or if you beat Alabama in the regular season. Doesn't matter. Beating a conference champion gets you 10 resume points. And the bottom 2 on this list, here's what we got to go into factor. If a team beats a team that was unranked but becomes ranked, then resume points will be awarded after the completion of the 12-step process. And the last one is, if a team loses to an unranked team but unranked team becomes ranked, then the minus 10 points will be deducted from the total resume points but we'll still have the ranked team deductions included after the 12-step process. So those are some things to keep in mind. So if you want to do the math as well, we can go ahead and do that one. But this is based off of what has happened for the entire year so far. So teams have built up resume points against ranked teams, even though the teams aren't ranked anymore. It's still huge resume points for beating a team when they're ranked. And that's what always people mislead, is they may not beat a team that's well at the end, but they beat the team that's good when they play them. Because a lot of factors should come in. Maybe that team just broke the team. Maybe it was a season breaker losing to that team. So, kind of like Florida State last year. I know they did lose their quarterback for the year last year. Maybe Alabama was the season breaker for him. Speaking of Alabama, through this mathematical process, we're going to start with them because they're number 1. So Alabama has 10 resume points already for being undefeated. And they beat the number 22 team, Texas A&M, when they played them that day. So they beat them at home, and they beat them by double digits. So that's 11 total resume points. And then they went on the road in November against LSU. They beat them on the road by double digits. So that's 15 resume points. Then the next week, they beat Mississippi State at home by double digits. So that is 11 resume points. So when you add them all up, even though I've already done the math, I'm going to still put them in the calculator because, like I said, sometimes math isn't that simple. For a total of 47 resume points. But there are more opportunities for Alabama to get more resume points. So next we're going to do Clemson. So Clemson has 10 points for being undefeated. And they get 11 resume points for beating ranked NC State at home by double digits. And then they get 15 more resume points for beating Boston College on the road by double digits. So that's a total of 36 resume points. But they did beat Syracuse when they were unranked, and Syracuse is now ranked. So we got to add those in. So they beat a ranked Syracuse opponent at home for 8 more resume points. And that sums up to 44 total resume points. Next, we got Notre Dame because they're number 3. So Notre Dame gets 10 points for being undefeated, 8 resume points for beating Michigan at home, 11 resume points for beating number 7 Stanford at home, another 15 resume points for beating Virginia Tech on the road by double digits. And they also get 10 resume points for beating ranked Syracuse on a neutral site by double digits. So that's 10 resume points. When you add those up, you get 54 resume points. However, Notre Dame also beat a ranked Northwestern team. Well, they were unranked at the time, but Northwestern is now in that top 25. So you've got to include them. So they beat ranked Northwestern on the road by double digits. So that is 15 more resume points, for a total of 69 resume points. So right now, Notre Dame is in front of the resume point total. However, what could hurt them is that they don't have a conference championship because they're independent. So that could hurt them. So they may be number 1 right now as far as this process goes. But if everything plays out, then, well, whoever wins the SEC championship will probably end up getting the number 1 slot anyway as far as resume points are concerned. So next we're going to go to Michigan because they're number 4. And it starts off with losing 3 points for losing to a ranked Notre Dame team on the road. So that's minus 3 resume points right off the bat. However, Michigan starts to recover a little bit. They beat number 15 Wisconsin at home by double digits. They beat the crap out of them. So that's 11 resume points for that. And they beat ranked Michigan State on the road in a rivalry game. So that's 15 resume points for winning it by double digits. And then they beat Penn State at home by double digits. That's 11 total resume points. So when you add that up, 11 plus 15 plus 11 minus 3 is 34 resume points. However, they beat Northwestern. They were unranked, and now they're in the top 25. So they beat a ranked Northwestern team on the road, so that's 12 resume points for that, which sums up to 46 total resume points. So next we're going to do Georgia. Georgia, what everyone forgets about is in week 2, they beat a ranked South Carolina team. So that by double digits, they beat them convincingly. So that's 15 resume points Then they lost to LSU, so that's minus 3 resume points. They lost to them on the road. And then they beat Florida on a neutral site by double digits. That's 10. And then they beat a ranked Kentucky team on the road, so that's 15 resume points for winning it by more than double digits. And then they beat a ranked Auburn team at home by double digits, so that's 11 more resume points for a total of 48 resume points. And now we've got Oklahoma because they are number 6. So Oklahoma does not have a lot of resume points here because they lost to a ranked Texas team on a neutral site. I didn't include that in there, but let's put it as minus 1 because in a neutral site, it can go either way because the fans are about 50-50, so nobody really has a home or an away game. So let's just do it at minus 1. So that's minus 3 resume points because that's the only ranked team that Oklahoma's faced so far. However, they did beat a ranked Iowa State team. Well, they beat them when they were unranked, but now Iowa State is ranked. So that's 15 resume points for beating them on the road by double digits. So when you take 15 minus 3, you get 12 resume points for Oklahoma. However, they got opportunities to get more resume points. They can beat West Virginia on the road next week, and they can win the Big 12 championship against a ranked Big 12 opponent. So next we're going to go to LSU. And LSU, you could argue and say their wins aren't as convincing. However, you've got to include them because based off of where they were at the time. So they beat a ranked Miami team on a neutral site by more than double digits. So that's 10 resume points. And then they went on the road to upset Auburn. So that's 12 resume points. And they did lose at 22 Florida at the time. So that's minus 3 points on the road. And then they beat Georgia at home. So that's 11 resume points. And then they beat a ranked Mississippi State team. But then they lost to Alabama at home. So that's minus 5 points. For a total of for a total of 36 resume points for LSU. So next we've got Washington State. And here's what's going to hurt Washington State right away. Is Washington State lost to a ranked USC team, an unranked USC team. So that is minus 10 points right off the bat. However, Washington State has some convincing wins. They beat Oregon when they were number 12 at home by double digits, so that's 11 resume points. And then they went on the road and beat Stanford, so that's when they were number 24, so that's 12 resume points. So 11 plus 12 minus 10 is 13 resume points. However, they beat Utah when they were unranked, but Utah is now ranked, so we've got to include that. So they beat the ranked Utah team at home, so that's 8 resume points. It's for a total of 21 resume points for Washington State right now. But there are more opportunities. And essentially West Virginia is out of the race, but we'll include them just to kind of show that this will come into play. So they beat a ranked Texas Tech team, number 25, on the road. So that's 12 resume points. They lost to an unranked Iowa State team, so that's minus 10 points. And they went on the road and beat Texas for a total of 12 resume points. But then they lost to a unranked Oklahoma State team, so that's minus 10 points. So 12 plus 12 would be 24, but however, they lost to 2 unranked opponents, which would be minus 20, so only a total of 4 resume points. However, Iowa State became ranked, and Iowa State is now ranked, so that loss that West Virginia had against Iowa State is much better than it was in the past because Iowa State is now ranked. So we've got to take out those minus 10 points. So let's give them the 10 points back for a total of 14 resume points right now. However, they got to lose 3 of them because they lost to a ranked Iowa State team on the road. So West Virginia now has 11 resume points. But there are opportunities for West Virginia to gain resume points if we use this formula, which we should use this formula. So next we're going to go to Ohio State. Ohio State, they beat number 15 TCU on a neutral site by double digits. So that is 10 resume points. And then they went on the road to beat Penn State. so for 12 resume points. However, they have minus 10 for losing to an unranked Purdue team, but they got a road win against Michigan State pretty recently, for a total of 15 resume points. So 10 plus 12 plus 15, and they beat Michigan State by double digits, right, by the way. So that's 37 resume points, but you got to take away 10 for losing to Purdue. So 27 total resume points. But opportunities for the Buckeyes to gain resume points down the stretch. So we can include UCF in this because I know they won't get in, but it's still to include this in the formula. So UCF has 10 points for being undefeated. And they beat the number 24 team, Cincinnati, this past weekend at home by double digits for a total of 11 resume points. So 10 plus 11, 21 resume points. But UCF can get resume points for winning the conference championship. So that's the end of that formula process. I only wanted to do kind of the top 10 teams in UCF to just kind of want to do the top 10 teams, kind of just to show you what that would be. However, there are two takeaways that I wanted to take away from this. Here's two big points. One, it shows how valuable it is to really win your conference championship. The value of being a conference champion. Like, this is only the resume points for right now. So, like, Alabama only has 47 resume points. However, if they win the SEC championship against Georgia, they're going to get more resume points. They're going to get the big 20 points for winning the SEC championship. So it shows the value of being a conference champion. Because last year, Alabama wasn't a conference champion, but they got in the 4th spot. So this year, if Alabama got in, if they won the conference championship, then there wouldn't be any controversy this year. However, if Georgia won the SEC championship and Alabama was stuck at 47 resume points, would the resume points be enough to still get Alabama in? So that's one thing to take away from. So not only is it a huge takeaway for this year, but it could be in years past, like maybe 2024, maybe 2028, like maybe 10 to 15 years from now, if it's still at this 14 process. Because to my knowledge, I think we're under this process for at least another maybe 7 to 8 years. So if it only stays this 14 process, this formula will be very huge. And the second takeaway is beating a conference champion would get you 10 bonus resume points. So this could motivate some teams to schedule an Alabama or a Clemson or an Oklahoma or an Ohio State or a Michigan in a non-conference matchup in September. Because those early resume points, those would be huge for teams. And it could maybe motivate some teams like UCF to schedule a Clemson or a Michigan or an Ohio State in a non-conference game. Those are kind of some takeaways that I wanted to point out with this formula. I feel like those should have been the two big takeaways, as this formula would really help. It helps settle the dispute, not only for this year, but for years down the line. So, that's all I got for this one. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you next time.